This is the second video in our video tutorial series. In this series, we're going to look at grids and boards. There are 4 categories: boards, game boards, grids and templates, and visual systems. Let's go into boards. Look again at the bottom of each page. Notice the blue and green dots. The green dot identifies which page you are on, and the blue dot identifies how many pages there are in each category. You can scroll up and down and left and right to look at the different boards, templates, and pieces. You will note that some boards have color and some are white and some are transparent. For now, we're going to focus on the white boards. The grids and boards are added to our main board the same way as we did with pictures, simply by tapping on the board to add them to your background. Just like our pictures, they will show up on your board and will be added on top of each other. The grids and board pieces can easily be combined to create different boards. I'm going to make a matching board to demonstrate how I combine these boards together to create different boards. Once I'm done adding all my grids, I tap on the outside of the grids and board pop-up menu, and the menu will disappear. Now I can apply all the same functions to these boards and images than to graphics and photos. I'm going to move, resize and flip, and place them on my picture. Once I have all my pieces placed on my board, I'm going to lock them into place. Just like our pictures, I can apply all the same functions. If I tap and hold onto a picture, the menu bar will pop up and I can lock my picture. Now I can also go up into the layer manager and lock all the pieces into place at once. Now I'm ready to add my pictures. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm only going to add a few pictures to demonstrate how I use this. Here is just another quick tip. Once I've added my pictures and sized them into the right size, I'm going to do 3 functions at the same time to save time. I'm going to touch and hold onto the picture. I'm going to duplicate it. Then I'm going to lock it. And for this tutorial, I'm also going to fade the bottom picture out. I use this shading mostly for errorless learning. In this case, I want to show the versatility of each element. You will see all the actions only affect the bottom picture, and that was the one that I touched and held on to. Now I'm ready to play my board. Note the block on the left. I call this the thinking block. This is where I put the icons and pictures that we focus on and talk about. Let's make another board. This time we're going to look at the transparent boards. I'm going to pick from the game boards and I'm going to pick a transparent one. The first thing I'm going to do is lock my board. Now I'm going to add some pictures. Let's make a pronoun game board with insects. I'm going to pick from my in-app purchase graphics, which is from Scrapping Doodles. And I'm going to go into critters and insects. I'm going to tap outside and resize my pictures. I'm also going to add in arrows for going backwards and forwards to make the game a little bit more interesting. Now I'm going into the game board category again, and I'm going to pick some game pieces. You'll see that these circles have either a solid color or a transparent color. I like to pick the transparent colors so that the person can see through the game pieces and talk about what you landed on. Now our game board is almost ready. Last, I'm going to change the background color. I touch on the select background, and you can see you have multiple options. I like to use the white background for printing or sharing the boards. When I play with a student on the iPad, I like them to pick the color for the background. Let's pick orange. Now, I can do one more thing to my board. If I want my pictures to pop, I can either tap and hold on a single picture and use the shadow effect, or I can go into my layer manager and pick it quickly for all the pictures. This just makes the pictures stand out a little bit more. Now we're almost ready to play. All we need is a dice and our game is ready for action. Now we're going to look at visual systems. One of my most favorite used boards are the first and then boards. I'm going to pick the blue and green one first. I'm also going to pick an envelope to show all done. Let's resize the boards to make them fit. Now I can add pictures two ways. I can quickly add a picture in from my pictures that I have already taken from my photo album, or I can take a picture using the iPad. So first we are going to do a puzzle, and then we are going to play with our food. I make sure the first picture is to the front, so I can highlight it when I talk about it. The next thing I make sure of is that all my boards are locked and that my envelope is to the front. I'm going to use my layering, bringing it to the front, so that when I'm done with my activities, we can put it into the envelope and it depicts nicely that that activity is all done. Now let's pick from our visual systems our I'm working for board. I'm also going to pick my all done envelope, and now I can do a few different things. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to check off on these boards. I can either check off with this check mark, I can check off with this check mark, or I can put the activity that I want to do right into my board. So say for instance we are working on vocabulary, and that would be one of my activities. Now lastly, I have to put in what we are working for, and for this we're gonna play with the food toys. Again, I'm going to make sure that I lock all my pictures into place that I want to have in place, and I'm also going to make sure that my envelope is to the front. I'm going to show you a different way to move the object to the front, and this is by touching onto these tabs on the right and moving them to the front. So you can see my working for board is at the bottom and my envelope is now to the front. The layering system we'll do in a detail in another video. Now I'm ready. So once a student is finished with a task, they can put their check marks or their activity right into the all done envelope. Now we can use these boards two different ways. We can either print them and use them as a hard paper copy, or if I'm working with the student on the iPad, we do the activity. Once our activity is done, we go out, we do another activity, do our activity, go out again, come back, and do our checks. And now we can check off our tasks, and now we are ready to play. The last piece I want to share for today is to show the versatility of the boards. See them as mix and match objects, and don't forget the crop feature. For this activity, I'm going to pick this game board. What I want to make is a board where the student uncovers the objects and then they get to the toys as they uncover them. I've picked the Little Sprouts cooking set. So first I'm going to add the pictures in the set, and then I want to cover the pictures up, and then they can uncover it and get the objects. So the first step is to find all the objects. Now I'm going to duplicate my game board. Tap and hold on it, duplicate it. Now it is really important to deselect the back board and select the front board. Then I'm going to tap onto the crop image, and I'm going to select one of the cells in my grid. That cell will now perfectly cover my block. I'm going to duplicate the same amount as on my board. The last thing I do is the picture that I added of my toys, I'm going to bring it to the front. This way, once I uncover a picture, I can hide my blocks. Now, once the kid uncover a picture, they then get the piece that goes with that picture. For instance, if we have the cookies, then they get the cookies. We uncover the egg, then they get the egg. Now I can also take this board, hide all my pieces in my board, and then I can change my background, maybe pop my grid, and now I can print, or I can share this board with either another therapist or with a family. I hope you enjoyed the video tutorial on grids and boards. Next, we will focus on text and background and layering. See you soon.